Picture this. It's Friday night. You just got paid. You look at your banking app, and for the first time in months, maybe years, you actually have a comma in your balance. You've got $1,200. You feel like a king, but then life happens. The car needs a tire. Your best friend is getting married in Vegas. You realize your surplus is actually just a down payment on next month's stress. You try to save. You really do. But every time you hit that $2,000 or $3,000 mark, it's like there's an invisible hand pulling you back down to zero. That feeling, that frustration, that's literally you, isn't it? My name is Jasper, and I spent way too much time thinking about why the first $5,000 feel like $50,000. If you're someone who struggles to save money and can't seem to get ahead, make sure you hit the subscribe button and get this video, or give a thumbs up if it helps you out. Look, here's the thing. Most finance gurus tell you that the hardest part is the first million. They're wrong. Like, statistically and psychologically wrong. The first million is a math problem. The first $5,000? That's a physics problem. I call it the gravity effect. Most people assume that building wealth is a linear climb, like walking up a hill. You put in $100, you get $100 closer to the top. Wrong. Building wealth is actually like trying to launch a rocket. Did you know that a space shuttle burns 90% of its fuel just to get through the first few miles of the atmosphere? That's the gravity effect. Once it's in orbit, it can go thousands of miles with almost no effort. Your bank account works the exact same way. According to a 2023 Federal Reserve report, 37% of Americans couldn't cover a $400 emergency with cash. If you are starting at zero, you aren't just saving. You are fighting the massive gravitational pull of your own lifestyle, your debts, and your survival instincts. Let's look at the math. If you save $500 a month to get from $0 to $5,000, it takes 10 months of perfect discipline, zero mistakes, no flat tires, no birthdays, to get from $100,000 to $105,000. Even at a modest 7% return, your money makes $7,000 a year just by sitting there. Here's what most people don't realize. When you have $100,000, the money does the work. When you have $0, you have to do 100% of the work. You are the engine, the fuel, and the pilot. That's why $5,000 feels so heavy, because you're carrying every single dollar on your back. Now, you might be thinking, Jasper, it's just $5,000. That's not wealth. And that's exactly the trap. This is where it gets really interesting. The human brain isn't wired for compounding. It's wired for immediate survival. When you have $3,000 in the bank, your brain doesn't see freedom. It sees spending power. Psychologically, there is a consumption threshold. When your savings are low, any small windfall feels like a huge percentage of your net worth. If you have $500 and you get a $500 bonus, you feel rich because you just doubled your money. You want to celebrate. You want to spend. But if you have $100,000 and get a $500 bonus, it's a rounding error. You don't even notice it. I remember a client, let's call him Mike. Mike lived in a cycle of the 3000s. He'd save up to $3,000, feel like he finally had some breathing room, and then, boom, he'd reward himself with a $1,500 vacation or a new mountain bike. He did this for 4 years. He was stuck in the atmosphere. He never hit orbit. I told him, Mike, you're treating $3,000 like it's a finish line. In reality, it's just the launch pad. You're cutting the engines before you've even cleared the trees. So, how do we break the gravity effect? Lower the weight. You can't launch a heavy rocket. If you're trying to save $5,000 while paying for 12 streaming services and eating out 4 nights a week, you're adding lead to your wings. Look at your atmospheric drag. Those small recurring costs that keep you grounded. The safety lock rule. Once you hit $2,000, that money no longer exists. It is the oxygen tank. You don't touch it unless you are literally going to die or the equivalent financial emergency. Visualizing orbit. Stop looking at your $5,000 as money to spend. Look at it as potential energy. Every dollar is a tiny employee. At $5,000, you have a small team. They aren't strong enough to support you yet, but they are working. Look, the truth is, the world is designed to keep you at zero. Marketing, credit card offers, social pressure, they are all part of the gravity trying to pull you back down. But I promise you this, Once you cross that $5,000 mark, once you prove to yourself that you can escape the immediate pull of your impulses, the next $10,000 is easier. The $50,000 after that is even easier. If you're ready to hit orbit, leave a comment below with your goal for the next 90 days. I'm Jasper. Now go get to work.